Hey guys, today I'm going to do an updated budget video. I'm asked all the time to do updated budget videos, so I figured no better time than now. So I guess I'm just going to go over how we budget now. We are debt free. We are caught up on all of our bills, so this just works for us that we're not having to go by like when something is due or whatever. So each month I save all of our bills, and then the first paycheck of the month I pay all of our bills besides our house, all of our utilities, everything. Our wine membership comes out, all of the kids like activity fees come out then, anything gets paid then. If we get like a random bill that, you know, I haven't accounted for, like sometimes I'll forget to do like our newspaper or stuff like that, then that will get paid the first two so that I have like a month to kind of like budget for it. And then the second paycheck of the month and the fourth paycheck of the month, I take our cash envelopes. So our groceries, our household, our clothing, our beauty, our Christmas and gifts, our spending money, and our kids' allowance all comes out in cash envelopes. And I split that in half, and I take half the second paycheck and half the fourth paycheck. I just like doing it that way so that like I don't go crazy, I don't overspend. It just keeps me on track a little bit better. When I was taking it out once a month, I just always felt like I was like skimping towards the end, and I think having a little bit and knowing, okay, I have to push this $40 for another week and then I get another, you know, X amount of money. I think that that helps me a lot more. And then on the third paycheck of the month, that's when we pay our house. So we're always, you know, we'll get paid and then, you know, we'll pay bills or we'll pay whatever, and we always have a buffer in our account. We always have a little bit extra in our account. And then at the end of every paycheck, I look and I see, is our $1,000 emergency fund still there? Check. What did we get paid this month? What is 25% of our income? I find out what that amount is, and I take that amount out, and I take 20% and I put it into our savings, and then I take the other 5% and that's our sinking fund. I go through my wallet, I check our envelopes. Is something like really high? Do we have too much money in there? And I go through and I evaluate. And sometimes I'll say, you know what? We have like $150 left in the grocery budget, but so-and-so needs new cleats for soccer or whatever, and I'll use that money to buy that, and I'll just kind of play around with that. But that's only done at the end of the month. You know, we'll move the money around and then we're all set for the next month. Now, there's also those 4 extra paychecks a year that you can get. And because we budget by the month, we budget by 4 paychecks, we count those as free money. So what we do with those paychecks is we take 25% out, that money comes out, and that comes out in cash, and that goes into our fun entertainment envelope. That is our money that we go and do any events with the kids. Besides their like YMCA stuff, that comes out, you know, differently. This money is like, we're going to the zoo, our vacation money, any passes that we get for places, anything like that comes out of this like entertainment fund money. So sometimes that envelope can be super full, and then as we get away from that, you know, 5th paycheck month, it's dwindling down, and then normally another 5 paycheck month comes up again, and then we're all set again for a little while. And that system's been working really great. And then the other 75%, again, make sure that our $1,000 emergency fund is still there, and then we put the rest of the money into our savings. Now, when we budget for our house, when we budget for our bills, we budget a little bit above. Same thing with our cash envelopes, we budget a little bit above, and that's what makes our sinking funds. So we budget a little bit above our house payment, even though our house payment's the same. We budget a little bit above so that we have like a house sinking fund. If anything were to break, if anything needs repairs, if we're going through and we're not fixing things that are cosmetic, we're fixing things that are broken, that's where that money comes from. And then with our utilities and all that money, whenever we budget over, that is like our car repair fund. If our kids need like stuff for sports, like soccer cleats, stuff like that, that normally comes out of there. If we forget like the newspaper subscription, like I always do, that comes out of there. That's kind of where that money is, because we don't need a ton for our automotive sinking fund, but we kind of call it like our household sinking fund. Yeah, I could take like the soccer cleats out of our clothing budget, but I just like doing like kids activity stuff and car stuff, all comes out of that money. And then our extra envelopes, that goes to extra money for Christmas or birthdays, or it goes in the entertainment fund or anything like that. Or, you know, sometimes we'll have a lot of money left over in our food budget, and I'll just kind of take like 25 bucks out and I'll put it aside for Thanksgiving or Christmas candy or Halloween candy or Christmas dinner or whatever, because, you know, that amount does sometimes get a little bit high. And then we, you know, normally can eat it up with those type of like special things where I don't have to make a special budget for Thanksgiving and Christmas and Halloween and all those things. And then as for like, so my husband makes some like bonuses that he gets paid via like a card, and then he also does side work and stuff like that. So he always makes extra money, and that's how he pays for his gas in his car, and that's how he pays for anything extra that he wants, tools or phones or anything that he wants. That's where that money comes out of. And then for me, all my money that I make with like Scentsy and YouTube and side work and all that stuff and babysitting and whatever, that money pays for all of the kids activities and vacations and any like decorating or extra things we do, like fun events, stuff like that. That's kind of where that covers too. So even though we do have like our fun envelope, I kind of keep my money aside for if I need extra. If we need extra money for whatever reason, that's where that comes out. For like me, the kids, Jeff, like family stuff, that's where my money comes from. If I sell stuff, if I sell the kids clothes or toys, I try to make sure that I put that money back into the Christmas budget or back into the clothing budget. Not really with Christmas, I don't see a huge difference on it, but for clothing, especially when I sell off a bunch of clothing and I put it back in there, it really makes that envelope keep going, because I don't budget a lot for clothes and it really helps me. And then of course, if people give us hand-me-downs, if my mom buys the kids clothes, that money in my clothing budget just stays there until I can reevaluate and be like, oh, you know what, I don't need this now, I can put this somewhere else. So I think I've covered everything. We really try to stick strict to our budget. The only thing we use really our debit card for, besides paying bills, is gas. I do use my debit card for gas. I don't use it for anything else. We don't use credit cards. I mentioned before that we were thinking about doing them for like the points and just like a buffer between our accounts, but we've just decided to do cash. And then at the end of every week, I take all of my change out of my car, out of my wallet, and I put it in like this little coin counter thing. And then every time we hit $100 in that, we'll take the kids out to a dinner out. We typically try to only do dinners out for like everyone's birthday. Like my husband and I will go out for Valentine's Day and our anniversary. Sometimes we'll go out for Mother's Day and Father's Day, but that's really it, unless like someone is treating us. Like my mom likes to treat us to dinner. My dad would treat us to dinner if he visited and stuff like that. So like if we can save up all the change, then we'll go out to dinner with that money. That's always nice. Like if we're going to Disney, we'll use it to pay for tips. That's kind of like our eating out money, so to say. And then there are some months when we have a lot extra in our grocery budget and we'll be like, well, let's go out to eat. Let's treat ourselves to dinner. You know, there's a kids eat free night, or I have a coupon or whatever. So that budget's been working pretty well for us. We really do like it. My husband works in a job where his income is up and down, and it's been really nice to get used to being okay with things being down. When money is super tight coming in, we know that we're okay because we have our buffers, we have our sinking funds, we have all that extra money. And yeah, it does feel like at times that we have a lot of extra money, but we really don't. It's just all kind of set aside for different occasions coming up. And then of course, when we buy a house again, as we just sold our house, it'll go down a lot, but then we'll just continue to build it up again and just have a nice big savings account for retirement or college, or when the kids need cars, or you know, all that stuff. We just kind of generally sink a bunch of money into stuff and go from there. So hopefully this helps you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video.